All right, guys, so now that we have our models created, we did our migrations, our database tables are created for the listings and for the realtors. Now we're going to start to work with the admin area, which in my opinion is one of the greatest features of Django, especially if you're a freelancer or someone that works by yourself, or just maybe with just a couple other people. You don't have this big giant team where they can create a custom admin area. It just gives you that right off the bat, okay? And you can customize it as you see fit. So if you make sure you have your server running, and if you just go to localhost 8000/admin, it'll bring you right there, okay? It's been here all along. Now, we don't currently have a way to log in. So what we need to do is head over to our terminal. Okay, I'm using my VS Code terminal, and we need to create a super user. If we do Python manage.py help and take a look at, let's see, up at the top here, I believe, under auth, you see we have a create super user command. Okay, so that's what we want to use. So let's go ahead and run that. We'll say Python manage.py create super user. So for a username, I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I'll just use Brad, but you could use whatever you want. So email address, I'm going to say brad@gmail.com, which isn't a real email address, but I'm going to use it. And then your password. So for my password, I'm just going to use 123456. 123456. Okay, so it gives me just a message saying that my password sucks. Should we bypass the validation anyway? And I'm just going to say yes. All right, so now we have a super user. So let's clear this out and let's go back to the admin area. And I'm going to put in Brad, and of course use whatever you put in, whatever you used, and put in my sucky password and log in. And there we go. So now we are actually in the administrator area. Now from here, without doing anything at all, we can manage our users in groups. So we can assign groups in Django. Okay, so we can add groups with different permissions. We can also create and manage users. So here's our Brad user. And notice that there's a staff status. So this is basically, this just means that this user is an admin and they can actually log into this area. Because a lot of times you'll have users that can log into the front end of your website, but you obviously don't want them to have access to this area. This is for staff only. Okay, so that's where is it? Right here. So staff status. So you check, if I uncheck this, this user will not be able to log in here. Okay, so that's that. Now, obviously, we want to be able to add listings. We want to be able to add realtors and stuff like that. So in order for that to happen, we need to go to our code. And let's go to listings. Okay, first we'll go to the listings folder, and we want to go to admin.py. Okay, so this is basically where we can customize admin stuff for the listings app. And I want to register the listing for the admin areas. So we need to do that here. It says register your models. So I'm going to say, first of all, bring in my model. So from .models, I want to import listing. Okay, and I'm using listing because in my models, that's what I called it. So whatever you have here is what you want to have here. And then, let's see, to register it, we can say admin.site.register, and then we want to pass in the name of the model, which is listing, and we also want to pass in actually, let's just do that for now. I think that will actually work. Let's save it. Let's go back to our admin area and reload. And there we go. We get listings. Okay, so if I click on listings, we don't have any at the moment, but they would be listed here, and we can add them. Notice that we have all of the fields that we added, even realtor, so we can choose a realtor. title, address, city, state, zip. These are all text, all what were they called? Char fields. This is a text field. The price is an int, so we can also use these arrows. It's just an HTML number field. And then bedrooms, bathrooms can be decimal. Garage is an int. Square feet int. Lot size is also a decimal. For some reason, the decimal places, they give you a longer input. Well, I guess that would make sense because you may have a lot of decimal points. Then we have photo main. Notice that these are dark and these are not. That's because the required fields are dark. And remember, we made these optional, so that's why they're not dark or bold like that. And then is published is a checkbox, and by default, it's going to be checked because we set the default to true. And the listing date is going to be the current date and time, but you can easily change it with the date picker, okay, and the time picker. So this is just amazing functionality to have right out of the box. Like, for us to create this interface would have taken just, I don't know how long, but a long time. So that's why Django is just an incredible framework, especially for freelancers. So I think what I want to do now, before we start adding data, is also add the realtors in the admin area. So to do that, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back to VS Code, and let's just copy these two lines here and go to realtors admin.py and paste this in, except we're going to change this to realtor, and we want to register the model of realtor. Okay, so if I save that, we go back and we reload, now we can see realtors. If I say add realtor, we get the name, the photo, description, phone, email, is MVP, so that's for the seller of the month, and it's not checked by default because we set false to be the default value, and then the hire date, which of course we can change if we want. All right, so now we have realtors and listings as part of our admin area. And another thing you can do is over here you can view the site, you can change your password, so whatever user you're logged in as, you can change password, you can log out, and we're going to customize this pretty nicely. Like, we're going to, obviously, Django administration, we don't want that. You're not going to want to give this to a client with that. We're going to actually put their logo here, and we're going to change the colors to their branding colors so it matches the front end. And then we have a lot of customization to do for how the data is displayed. Right now you can't really see it because we haven't added anything, but once we add a listing, you'll see it's going to look a little funny. We're going to want to really specify what we want to show, like in the table and so on. All right, so we're going to do all that, but before we get into customization, I just want to add some data. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to go ahead and add our realtors, upload the images, all that stuff, and also add our listings. All right, and then we can work on customizing this admin area.